Well, guys, it is a Prove It Saturday on the field. It's a Prove It Saturday in the ledger. We've got a little bit of movement this week, not necessarily in the positive direction for any of the three of us. It's time for us to make some moves. It's time for us to make some moves in the right direction. I feel like I've been saying that for several weeks, guys, but there's the standings right here on the board. If you're new here, how the ledger works, all of our lines are brought to you by MyBookie. And we each get 100 nuggies to bet each week on up to 5 games. You can see the standings right there. None of us have been particularly astute at picking the right games from the board so far this season, but there's plenty of season left. It's only week 4. We got plenty of time to get back into the green. But Garrett, as our resident lowest loser, we turn over to you, my friend. You get to start us off once again.
We know how much I like being the lowest loser. It's my favorite title that I get on this podcast, and I'm excited to carry it one more week. So I've got kind of themes to my parlay and my different bets this week. So my first bet is just a straight up Maryland Terrapins -7.5. They're playing Michigan State, and those guys looked about as close to inept as you could look last week, while Maryland looked fairly good. I think they looked pretty good against Virginia. They came back, bounced back in a big way, played some really good defense, ran the ball effectively, in addition to obviously Talia just slinging the thing. So I think 7.5 is a really nice spot there. I'm betting 40 nuggies to win 36-36. I'm also going to go with the Pac-2 Bowl, is what I'm calling it. Oregon State versus Wazoo. I'm betting 15 to win 13-64 on the Beavs. I'm going to go ahead and pick Oregon State to win this one. Really impressed with what they've been doing on the ground specifically. So I think they're going to be able to handle that number just fine. Then I get my 2 different parlays down here. So I've got the new SEC parlay. I'm picking Oklahoma -13.5. They're playing Cincinnati. I don't think Cincinnati's very good at all. I think Oklahoma's offense is really, really good. So I think 13.5 is a small number to cover. And then I'm picking Texas money line. Thought about the 15, but I remember they didn't look too good against Wyoming. So I'm going to go ahead and pick Texas just to win it. I still think they'll beat Baylor. No problems. Betting 15 to win 17-59. Then looking down at my last parlay, I'm calling this my big game, my big spreads parlay, where this is the big, go big or go home type of parlay. Looking at LSU -17.5 against Arkansas. Not very impressed with Arkansas. And then LSU seemed like they found something on offense against Mississippi State last week. So if they can keep that rolling, I think they can win that game by 20 points. SC, of course, the Trojans going down to play Arizona State. They're -35 points, but Arizona State stinks. And USC can just score points at will. So I'm going to pick them -35. And then Duke -21.5 against UConn. I really like this spot for Duke. Really like what they're going to be able to do here against UConn. UConn's been really, really, really lackluster to start the year, and I think Duke's looked really good, like they're actually competing for something here. Might be a special year for the Blue Devils. So I'm going to pick them. I bet all those games for 30 nuggies to win a whopping 180 nuggies for myself. So we're going big on that last parlay. Not necessarily expecting them all to hit, but I think there would be there's stranger things that have happened so far in the world of sports betting.
Some big numbers, but I love that you're rolling with it. You're rolling with your teams, especially down there.
We're going ambitious.
Guys, I don't know about y'all, but when I perused the board this week, I didn't like it. Personally, it's hard to come across. I know Mitch texted us early in the week saying, guys, the lines are juicy this week. Get in while you can. And maybe I missed those. Maybe I, got in a little bit too late with my picks, but I didn't find a ton that I just absolutely love. I'm happy with what I got on the board, but Mitch, share with us what you found, because you were really excited about this board early in the week.
There was a lot of movement Sunday into Monday as lines got released. So I texted you guys pretty much. I had an idea that we needed to watch these lines, especially with the brand names, little numbers next to teams. Like there was going to be a lot of action this week. So I did. I warned y'all, get in early. I liked a number of the lines that I got. So let's start off the top. Notre Dame catching 2 in the hook against Ohio State. Listen, they're at home. I think they're the better team. I think they've got the better quarterback. And oh, by the way, they've got the more veteran established defense. And I get 2.5 points. Oh, give me those all day long. Listen, I might have been late to the party with Notre Dame. I didn't pick them to make the playoff, but the path is there. And I think if they want to actually go about debunking that myth over the last couple of years that Notre Dame's good, but they're not great, they can't win a championship, it starts this week. Boy, guys, Ryan Day, there are reports that he just got an extension. I'm really questioning the timing of this, especially given the volatile nature of Ohio State fans. I think it's just setting up for a catastrophic failure in South Bend. I think it's a close game, but I do like the Irish. So I'm going to put 40 on that. Notre Dame plus the 2.5. I'm also going to ride with the Sooners this week. I don't necessarily think Cincinnati's bad. They've got a good defense, and Emory Jones has been able to score some points, but losing to Miami of Ohio last week, the first time since 2004, 2005. It's been a minute since Miami of Ohio has claimed the victory bell. That's a loss that kind of can take the wind out of your sails. And now you've got to play a red-hot Oklahoma team who is doing it well on offense, yes, but I think folks are sleeping on the Sooners' defense. That's what I'm trusting to help Oklahoma get to the number here. The offense is going to score points, but I really like what Danny Stutzman is doing in that linebacking core, Deshaun McCullough as well. I think they keep the Bearcat offense to an absolute minimum this week. Ole Miss, plus 7. I'm going to ride with the Lane train. The numbers, and we'll talk about this more on the podcast over on YouTube or Spotify, wherever you choose to get that. The numbers are telling you take Ole Miss this week. I know that line is very strange. Alabama -7. I get it that they're at home and they're off a couple of bad weeks, but I'm just telling you, Ole Miss is, I think, the better team on paper coming into this. They can get to the quarterback. Alabama cannot protect Jalen Milroe, and I don't really know what kind of positive momentum Alabama has going for them on offense. So give me Ole Miss in this one. And then I've got a big parlay. Listen, I don't know if this is going to hit or not, but boy, we're going to ride with it. Purdue plus the 7 against Wisconsin. Does anybody trust what Wisconsin is doing right now? I certainly don't. Oiler up. Give me Purdue plus the 7. I'll take North Carolina -7 at Pitt. That is an atrocious Pittsburgh team that cannot score. I know North Carolina's probably not the complete package this year, like maybe we thought after week 1, but they can cover against Pitt. Give me North Carolina in that. The Oklahoma State, Iowa State under, we had to dip our toe into this. The under's at 36.5, and guys, I'm squinting to get to that number. This could just be the worst game on television all week long. And then I'm going to take USC. I got them at -34 against Arizona State. Jaden Rashada is likely done for the year with, I believe it's an ab injury, gone for at least 6 or 7 weeks. So Arizona State already struggling to score on offense. Now you take away their explosive quarterback. I think they're dead in the water. All of that, like I said, 10 to win 120. Trey, we're starting to stop the bleeding. I think the tourniquet is working. The bleeding is slowing down, and now this is where we get a pick 6. We get the momentum going the other way.
I love the optimism. I love it. I wish I had the same optimism. I'm down pretty bad after my last week. If you followed along with my bets, I hope you were crying with me because my big parlay was crushed by a meaningless touchdown.
Yep.
The 62-yard field goal to win it for Mizzou sunk my other parlay. It was just a bad day all around on the betting side of things. But we're going to bounce back this week. Here's what I got on the board. We're starting out bright and early this week on Friday night. I'm going to go a little bit out of order from the graphic chronologically here. Starting Friday night, I've got a couple unders in a couple of games that are going on Friday night. I've got Air Force, San Jose State, and NC State, Virginia, both going under the number 46.5 and 47.5 respectively. Simply put, Air Force is going to control the clock. Nothing San Jose State's defense has done this year is going to tell me that they're going to stop the run very well. And I don't think Virginia is going to keep up offensively with NC State's defense. And NC State's going to be perfectly fine scoring about 27 points and calling it a night. So both of those unders hitting 20 to win 52 for me. I've got on the other side of the spectrum, taking over Kansas State and UCF. This is going to be a really fun Big 12 matchup, I think. Can Kansas State bounce back from the huge letdown in a rivalry game last week? And UCF is going to be absolutely, it's going to be bonkers for them experiencing their first, I know it's in Manhattan, but it's their first Big 12 game as a program. I think they're going to be fired up. They did lose their starting quarterback, John Reese Plumlee, a couple weeks ago, but the backup, Timmy McClain, performed really well last week. I think he's going to do good enough to put up some points. I think Kansas State's going to score some points on that night defense, so give me over 53 there. UNLV is taking on UTEP, former darling of this podcast. UNLV upset Vanderbilt last week, and they're only 2.5-point favorites in El Paso. Give me all that action. I'm putting my biggest bet of the week, 30 Nuggies to win 27-27 on that one. And then I'm trying the teaser strategy again, guys. It did not work for me last week. I think I went 1 for 3 on the teaser picks. But, Garrett, you went with the big lines. And those big lines scared me just a little bit. I'm going to tease at 7 points with 4 of them and see if I can get a quick $40 here, 40 Nuggies here. Duke minus 14.5 with the tease. Miami minus 17. Washington minus 14 against Cal. Miami's playing Temple. I didn't mention that. And then Iowa keeping it within 3 touchdowns at Penn State. I know it's a whiteout game, but I think the Iowa defense is good enough to keep the Hawkeyes within 3 scores. So if that teaser hits, it's 20 to win 40. And we're stopping the bleeding, like Mitch said. Definitely not going to break even this week. Definitely not going to get back in the green, even if all this hits. But we will stop the bleeding. We'll be in good position for the rest of the year. Fellas, good luck. Here's to a better week this week, and we'll see you guys next time.
Gracious, how about